There's the Environmental Protection Commission regular meeting and public hearing agenda for Wednesday, July 7th, 2021. First piece of business is old business, EPC 12, 2021. Christina Pacione, 40 Morley Lane, proposing a pool in an upland review area. This site is shown on Assessor's Map number 63 as lot number 57. The commissioner should have received a draft, and there was a revised draft that Richard sent out.
No, that's
No,
no, just the plans and the.
oh, just the plans. Okay.
Plans, yeah. You haven't asked me to
Oh,
draft.
okay, that's true. Okay, sorry. I got ahead of myself. I reordered my stuff. All right.
Tom Nelson's here.
Tom, are you going to represent the applicant?
Yes.
Please,
Yes, I
you
am.
want to walk us through this? Would you like to walk us through this?
Yeah, I'll just go, real briefly. I think the last time we met was a couple months ago. We had spoken to the commission, and the commission had asked for some more details on the planting, and they also had asked for a cross section to sort of better illustrate how that pool relates to the steep slopes that head down to the wetlands. So Thomas J. Costello Landscaping was engaged by the homeowners to prepare the planting plan that you have, and our office also included a cross section that shows cross section BB on the second sheet of our plan, shows basically the relationship of that pool to the slopes. I can certainly share my screen and go into more detail if you'd like, or I can just ask any questions that you might have.
Why don't you share the screen, Tom, and walk us through it?
Tom,
Sure.
You're a presenter now.
Very good.
There you go.
Very good. So as you recall, we'll go back, rewind a little bit. This is the site plan with the proposed pool patio, the addition, and another patio proposed in the backyard here. So the regulated area being 50 feet from these wetlands that are at the base of a relatively steep slope that from the backyard is a sort of a wooded slope down to these wetlands. This is the area that we've proposed the new plantings. Essentially, those are intended to stabilize any disturbance caused from the construction of the pool, and also create a buffer between that pool and the wetlands area. So jumping to the there's a planting plan created by Thomas J. Costello Landscaping. These trees, 1, 2, 3, 4, are 2 maples, a hickory, and a birch that exist. These trees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spruce, and an existing large oak tree exists. So you can see he's essentially filling in that area. Some new screen trees here between the spruce and the pool, and then a mixture of hydrangea towards the corners, junipers on the steepest portions, and then a number of grasses filling in between, essentially filling in that area between the pool and the trees. On our plan, we have this cross-section BB essentially showing this slice through the south end of the pool and that slope. We've illustrated that on our second sheet. This dashed line representing the existing grade, and this is where you can see it goes steeply downhill to that wetlands boundary. This shorter dash is the proposed pool structure, this being the patio here. And you can see what we've done is, in order to kind of minimize the amount of filling adjacent to this steep slope, about midway through the pool, we're going to start tapering that grade down to meet natural grade. And this back section of the pool is actually going to be exposed. So this will likely be, the pool will essentially serve as its own retaining wall in this location in order to minimize, impacts and necessary filling near that slope. And then this would be that new buffer planting at the end of that pool. Well, that's the quick synopsis. If there's any questions.
Okay. Bill Wright, I'll start with you. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, how are you stabilizing the fill area, the 7 feet, approximately 7 feet, back from where the ledge is there? How are you stabilizing that toward the south?
This area in here, or?
Right, yeah, yeah.
I think the intent is that this will, part of it, this are those existing spruce trees. So part of this will be the new arborvitae stand, up slope of that, the level areas immediately surrounding the pool will likely be lawn. And then obviously where the arborvitae is planted, the intention would be to mulch that. And then we have the silt fence with the stake hay bales, to protect stuff until we get that ground stabilized.
So you don't think you need a retaining wall for 7 feet of fill that you're gonna have? That's gonna, can you taper that down adequately toward?
Yeah, this is
the slope?
This is graded at a 3-to-1 slope here. It's about 5 feet of fill at the worst location, I believe. We're going from the absolute lowest point in this backyard is about 87. That new pool coping is at 92. So we've got about 5 feet of fill to make up. And I think the 3-to-1 slope is maintainable. It's not overly steep. It's certainly less steep than the bank that exists down to the wetlands.
Yeah, okay. And the other question is the front area where it's directly where the end of the pool is. Is that so where the drainage comes out a little further down? I mean, that's pretty steep there. You think that you'll be able to hold that water back with the plantings you've got, or without it charging down that steep hill?
So this is really just an overflow mechanism. The area going to this detention system is relatively large. We've got the new addition and the new pool patio going here. I don't have so the overflow from the system is going to be generally pretty rare. We'll see it at peak storm events. The level spreader will allow that to sort of spread out, and I think it is essentially going to mimic the condition we have there now, where we have sort of this whole backyard kind of funnels to this area. This is kind of this existing backyard area already kind of funnels to about that same location. So I believe with that level spreader, spreading that across that 10 feet will be sufficient to prevent any erosion there.
Okay, and one last final question, it's more of an aesthetic. Do you plan on putting any kind of facade rock on the back sides of that pool? So at least if you're looking from the marsh up or from across the way, you wouldn't see just a pool structure, blended in.
I would totally agree with you. We don't have, pool plans yet, but that is the intention. I think there'll be some sort of stone facade. I don't think it'll just be bare concrete on those exposed walls. I think a stone veneer, I guess would be the right word, would be most likely.
Okay, that's all the questions I had.
Okay, Michael? Michael Urban?
Tom, I just got a quick question. Per the proposed patio, it looks like that you have abutting the pool is 92 foot of elevation. And then it looks like the patio drain, the linear patio drain, is at elevation 89-ish. So the design, this is my question, is the design to take the sheet flow off the patio, put it in the linear drain, and then have it be detained in the buried Coltex?
Yeah,
via that
that's
4-inch PVC pipe?
Yep, that's exactly the goal here, is to back pitch this patio from the pool coping to that trench drain. The grade of that drain is at 91.6. Probably the bottom of that drain is going to be at around 89 and change, and then that will be directed via this 4-inch PVC to that Coltex system.
And is that linear drain for the purpose of like constant rainfall on the patio? Or is that in the case of a heavy rain event that the freeboard of the pool goes to zero and the overflow goes to that drain?
No, it's entirely designed for the runoff from the pool patio. I think, you know, as with any pool, there's the overflow mechanism is going to be via the filter outlet, and that'll be up. You know, the pool equipment will be up, you know, closer to the house. So yeah, this is really just there to capture runoff from that patio.
Where is the pool equipment located on the map?
I don't have it shown on the map. My assumption would be that it would be kept near the other utilities. There's existing AC units up near the corner of the house. So the thought would be that that would be the most likely location for it.
So for purposes of your application, do you think it'd be a good idea to put the pool equipment on the map?
We can certainly try to nail that down and add that if you'd like.
I think that'd be a great idea. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Jim Millard?
Thank you, Eric. Bill Wright covered the thoughts that I have. I apologize to all that are on this call. I'm actually out west right now, so I'm a little behind some of your proximity to the project, but I think Bill Wright helped me with his questions. So I have nothing to add.
Good. For myself, I was concerned about the visual part on the back because it's just a cement wall there, etc. So Tom, if you know, I'm not sure how to. I don't know if we can condition that to have a wall there with stuff, you know, that's aesthetic, okay, as opposed to just a sheet of concrete.
Well, no, it's not a wetlands issue. I think if they're offering it, I don't know if you want to condition it or make it I guess you could make it a condition. But it could be textured concrete. It could be.
Well, yeah,
There's a lot of different ways.
hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Why don't you and you know, Rich understands it. I think you get it too. So just let Rich know what conclusion you come to with the applicant.
Sure. Yeah, we
Okay.
can certainly review that, what that veneer will be with Rich prior to any permitting of this pool.
Yeah, just review it, and Rich, I'm sure that you as you can take a look at that.
As far as the pool equipment goes, if they're stipulating it's outside the upland review area, then I don't think there's any place logically to put it in the upland review area. Is that correct, Tom?
That would be my conclusion too, Rich. I mean, I think it just seems to me, you know, we haven't really engaged a pool designer yet on this, but with the AC equipment already being up next to the house, it just seems most logical to put the pool equipment there too.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Okay. Any commissioner want to intervene here? Otherwise, Tom, thank you very much. We'll move on to the next item of business.
Draft for August 4th.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Yeah, draft for August 4th, and hopefully Tom will get back to us, get back to you in the meantime with, you know, some sort of conclusion.
Sure.
Okay, great. Moving on,
Very
we're
good.
moving on
I
to
will leave-
EPC 13, 2021, 4 acres LLC, 4 acres road, proposing grading related to a pool and buffer restoration plantings in an upland review area. By the way, obviously, Mr. Millard's been slacking because it's renew area in the agenda.
No, no, that's why I sent out the, I sent out the drafts just today. I realized that I didn't send a Word version. So I'd be happy to take any,
No.
I can still, before I send it out, I'd be happy to take any.
The site is shown on an assessor's map, number 6, as lot number 21. The public hearing closed on June 21. Commission members, you have a draft here. So I assume Mr. Millard's done his normal due diligence in this. You sent it out late? Okay,
So I'll be happy to take it within the next few days.
okay.
If that's, I'm so glad to hear Rich say that, if I may jump in there, Eric, because I am out west with family, and I've been looking for those terrific advance notices that Rich always sends out. I haven't seen them, so I am remiss in sending back any comments, edits, or changes to our last meeting, or conditional approvals, and which I will make it my business to do so if it's okay with you, sir.
That's fine. Okay, given that, Jim, may I have a motion to approve the draft for EPC 13 2021?
I'm happy to make that motion. Again, subject to any edits that myself or others identify for EPC 13-2021.
Okay. Michael, may I have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, then without objection, so moved. Thank you very much. Next is moving on to new business, EPC 26 2021. Don, 72 Deepwood Road, proposing pool construction in an upland review area. The site is shown on assessor's map number 26 as lot number 27. And representing the applicant is Port Engineering. Harry?
Harry Rocheville, Record Engineering, representing the DeMattias. Property 72 Deepwood Road is located on the west side of Deepwood Road. And if I could be the presenter, I'll share my screen and give you a walkthrough.
Okay, you're all set, Harry.
Thank you. Okay. So currently on the property, there's an existing single-family residence here. It was built in 2018, fairly new. It's accessed via Deepwood by a driveway here to a garage on the northern side of the house. Right now in the rear yard, there's an existing patio here. And there's an existing stormwater management system that controls runoff from the entire residence and the driveway via driveway drain and roof leaders that are connected to the stormwater management system. It consists of 3 rows of 48 linear feet of 2x4 concrete galleries. As part of this project, I went back and inspected the system, and it's still operating as intended. It was dry after a stormwater, after a rain event, so everything working as it should. And as part of the previous development, there's 2 4-inch PVC pipes here. I can only find one in the field. These are both shown in the survey. I believe one may have been a carryover from the previous house, but there's 2 shown, but there's on the survey, but there's only 1 existing there, and it's for the roof. The footing drains for the existing house. So the project now is to further develop the property with a proposed pool and patio in the backyard. The patio will be a direct extension off of the existing patio, and a portion of the existing patio will now be taken up with an in-ground spa. Construction access will be via the existing driveway, as far away from the wetland area as we can be. And the wetlands will be protected with silt fence during construction, and the closest portion of the disturbance to the wetlands will also be protected with hay bales to serve as a double barrier erosion and sedimentation control. The wetlands are shown here. And the 50-foot upland review area is shown here. So there is about half of the pool and patio are within the upland review area. To limit the amount of filling that would be required to create the level pool and patio area, we're showing a retaining wall here that will be about 3 feet tall at its highest point in the corner here, and will taper down to level the patio. To mitigate any disturbance from the construction, it is a generally flat area with pitch towards the wetlands, but we will be proposing a mitigated planting area shown in the hatched portion here, and that's taking from a planting plan prepared by Alexandra Mock, which I'm showing you now. I believe there's about 35 plantings proposed, all directly next to the disturbed area beyond the retaining wall and just beyond the silt fence. To mitigate any increase in runoff towards the wetlands, for the pool and patio construction, we're extending the existing detention system with an additional 40 linear feet of the same 2x4 concrete galleries, and we'll be capturing any runoff from the patio and any portions of the pool when it's covered in the winter with a linear drain through the middle patio here. There will just be a small portion of the runoff from the patio that we can't get to the strip drain. Will run off through the buffer plantings, but there will be a net decrease in runoff, rate of runoff and volume to the wetlands and the existing conditions. And that pretty much summarizes the plan. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know Alexandra Mock is on the call as well if there's any questions on her planting plan.
Yes, Alexandra, why don't you walk us through it?
Hello, this is Alexandra Mock. Landscape designer, soil and wetland scientist. I did delineate the original wetland and also provided the planting plan for the pool. And the design of the approach to this area was just to reinforce the edges of the wetland, which is this area. And those edges are wooded. This is a wetland swamp, a swamp, red maple swamp environment, which has several depressions which holds water during the wet season. And the edges are mostly developed with shrubs, and there are some herbaceous ground cover, mostly pachysandra and periwinkle. But the proposed planting plan with native shrubs will reinforce the buffer and will protect the wetland, will provide a little bit more privacy for the wetland and take some of the noise and activities around the pool and preserve the wildlife habitat.
So I see you're actually planting in the wetland.
Yes, yes. And actually, the plants where they are located, they are really needed there, and they will really strengthen the wetland, will allow for a better environment, and will replace some of the pachysandra and periwinkle, which doesn't really belong there.
So is there going to be some? So there's going to be a significant change then, because you're ripping out the periwinkle and pachysandra and putting all this in.
Well, actually, it can plant into them. They're not really considered to be invasive species. They're non-native species, but they provide a nice ground cover, and they actually shade the soil and preserve the moisture. And also, they are viable to wildlife for the shade and shelter. So we can just plant into them, and we will probably introduce some sorts of competition for the pachysandra and periwinkle, especially periwinkle, because periwinkle doesn't like a deep shade. So they probably will retreat a little bit, but there is no reason to take them out and rip off the whole thing and uncover the soil. The protection for the soil is really needed, especially for the summertime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, I'd like to open it up for questions from the commissioners. Bill, would you like to start?
Yeah. It was a little tough that there was no wetlands flags on most of the property other than the way in the back. It would have been nice to have those there. There was also no staking of the corner, at least, that was going to be touching the wetlands. It would have been nice to see that staked out too. So starting off, we ought to improve that. So that wetland flags are in place, and places that are almost touching the wetlands should be staked so we can see it for sure where it's going to impact. There's a couple other minor things. Grass clippings are being thrown in the wetlands. Never like to see that. And then one area over where the access is going to be for bringing in the trucks in. There's an area over there that is certainly wet, was not noted on the wetlands map. And although you will have a silt fence there, that should have been put on there by a wetland scientist of some sort, because it certainly is wet there and drainage and all that stuff. So that's got to be careful of that spot, because that's where all the trucks are coming through. My concern is it's just intrusive right to the wetlands. It just should be pushed back some. It's just right there, taking advantage of every bit right up to the wetlands area. There's some areas too that are over on near the road that are grass into the wetlands area. That would be nice, at least if they mitigated that as well. That's over on the left side of this diagram, closest to the road. So that's my concerns. I'll let others speak about it.
Michael?
I guess my first question is a takeaway from Bill is, was there any alternative considered to the location of the pool? I guess that's a question for the engineer representing the client.
Yes, there was some alternatives taken, but as Bill sort of mentioned, there's an existing drainage runoff that comes through here, and this was part of the original development. So there's drains here and pipes over here. So we didn't want to get too close to that wet area either, where there's structures over there. It's essentially off of the existing patio now. Other than that, it just seemed like the central location for the pool made the most sense.
I'm looking. Where's the pool equipment located?
Sorry, having some connection issues. It's located next to the existing AC units right here behind the house.
Okay, I missed that. My apologies.
No worries.
And I guess my last question, just to confirm for the record, is that the upland review area dissects the pool at a slight diagonal. This is the dotted line, correct?
Correct, right here.
Okay. And the right angle of the stone wall, that's a proposed stone wall, correct?
That's correct. Because yes, that's correct.
Okay, and you're proposing top of wall at 105 foot of elevation, and the current grade below the top of wall is approximately 102?
The existing grade is approximately 101.5 at that point.
Okay, all right, that's where you
We'll
get
hold that existing grade.
Okay. Well, my comment to my fellow commissioners is I think based on the pool being in such close proximity to the wetlands, I'd like to see a strong demarcation of the pool to the wetland. And I looking for the compass direction. I would run top of wall parallel to the length of the pool and return it mirror image of what you have proposed on plan. So there'll effectively be a horseshoe shape of a stone wall to demarcate the pool from the wetland. That's all I have for comments and questions.
Yes, Eric. Again, with apologies to all on this call, I'm at a bit of a disadvantage having been out here in the West for a bit of an extended time. So I have not visited the site and appreciate Bill Wright's comments about once again trying to fit in a pool in an area that is so proximate to existing wetlands. I think our fellow commissioner, Michael Irvin, makes some very valid points in what his comments just said. So I will again not try to add to anything that these two gentlemen have said, but to endorse what both said and ask that the applicant include them in any revised plans for us to revisit.
Thank you, Jim. For me, this pool is more than half in the upland review area and is a few, I don't know how, from the corner of the stone wall or even the corner of the patio to the wetlands. How much are we talking about here? A couple of feet? It can't be, can't be much. So, I'm pretty concerned that this pool, I understand it's difficult to move it to the right to get it out of the upland review area. But I understand the difficulty of the pipes and the AC units and et cetera. But I look at this as this is really an encroachment, and I wonder, this could provide significant impact to the wetlands, and it is because we are, literally planting in the wetlands. So that by definition is significant long-term impact. The wall, I personally agree with Michael's suggestion here of having a wall there to be a little more defensive. Rich, I'm not sure how you do that. Okay, because normally I'd ask them to put in some defining, what I call boulders or something like that, or to do.
Explain. I think Harry can.
Got that, Harry? Hey, Harry, did you understand what Michael Irvin was saying?
Okay.
Yes?
You're muted, Harry.
Is he still with us?
Yeah.
I'm taking notes just in case, and I will share it with him.
Oh, there he is back. Hey, Harry, did you hear my comments?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I did. To sort of place the wall to act as a demarcation point and a retaining wall at the same side to pull away that corner from the wetlands and have sort of more of a horseshoe approach to demarcate the wetlands as well. That's correct, right?
That's correct. So okay, because our, if we were to approve that, that would clearly be a condition. Okay.
There were other comments that I think you would have to incorporate also.
Agreed. And my client wouldn't have any problem with pulling that wall back condition.
Okay. Another, Rich, I see here was one Bill Wright came up with, which was there was, they have to clean up the, grass clippings and whatever else is artificially being thrown there. Okay, so that goes without saying. That's a given. Okay, that's a non-negotiable. So
I was going to also bring up, in addition to that, there's some invasives which have come back since the original house was built, some barberry.
Mhm.
I think those could be removed and some, maybe a few substantial shrubs in their place.
Yeah, because we saw this, right? We saw this when it came out. Right?
4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
for 3 years.
No, I guess, I seem to remember this, and Alexander, they were supposed to go and do, some remedial effort here, and obviously, according to Rich, there's more that has to be done.
There's some other things that the invasives that came back, you really have a hard time.
No, there are invasives that came back. Okay, but I want to push.
To set them back again.
Yes, agreed. And so that would be, Rich, I would view that as, excuse me? Harry?
Is he still on?
He's having some issues with his audio.
This is Michael. When you have a moment, Mr. Chairman, can I jump in and make a suggestion
Please.
for a prudent alternative?
Go. Go, Michael.
Oh, it's very common in pool design where the spa is part of the pool. So if the pool is to the northeast, the pool is to the east, the spa is located to the east of the proposed pool. The spa could actually be located inside of the northeast of the pool. And therefore, the proposed pool can be moved closer to the east of the house and further away from the potential wetland encroachment. So I think the applicant should consider that. And as a result, the hardscape demarcation doesn't have to be dead nuts on the wetland. I'd like to see that stone wall be a little farther away from the wetland. And I think that would potentially accomplish the needs and wants of the applicant. And it would be a prudent and feasible alternative. Wouldn't be a material change to the plan, and it would reduce a long-term impact to the wetland. No further comments.
Harry? Harry?
Yep. Sorry,
Did
I
you hear
don't
Michael?
know what's going on. I did. I think I only caught the tail end, and I think the gist of it was to locate the spa within the pool in order to decrease the patio while moving the pool east closer to the house and further from the wetlands. I think we could gain probably about 10 feet or so separation, and if we were to horseshoe the retaining wall as well, probably maybe 15 feet further from where it is currently shown. If that was the totality of the comment. Sorry, my machine keeps cutting in and out.
I think you got it. So do you want to examine that?
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know if that was going to be a condition or another meeting was to happen. I may have missed that part. But we certainly look at the alternative.
What I think you should do, hey Harry, what I think you need to do is review that with the applicant, because I'm not going to, I don't think it's an appropriate condition. I don't
think I can write those conditions.
Yes, I think you should review it and come up. I think you should review it and come up with a revised plan. Okay, so and then we can review it in August.
Okay, understood.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so given that's a major change, and that's going to change the drawings as well as the wetland and the wetland buffer, et cetera, that Alexandra did. I think what we should do is just keep things open until next time. And then, we'll see what you come up with. Okay, Harry?
Yep, understood. Appreciate the feedback.
Okay, good. Okay, I think that's what we'll do. Is we'll wait until August. And so I guess what we do here is, by the way, I thank the commissioners for their excellent comments that we've incorporated here. Moving on to next piece of new business is EPC 27-2021. L. Francis Huck and Natalie M. Murphy, 90 Inwood, proposing pond dredging and wetlands enhancements. The site is shown on Assessor's Map 3 as lot number 15. And I guess, Bill Kenny, you're representing the applicant?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Good evening.
Would it be, if I could, is it okay to share my screen?
Let me get you set up here, Bill.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're good to go, Bill.
Great. Oh, geez, I might have a system preferences issue here with go to my PC. That's unfortunate. Would you mind going to the next item? I'm going to leave and adjust my settings on my computer and then come back. So would that be acceptable to you? I need to adjust my settings so that I can share my screen. It's currently not set up for go to my PC. I've got it. It works with Zoom, but not go to my PC.
Bill, is it something that's been submitted for the record? Because I might be able to call up something that's been posted to the web. If
is, I was going to share a few photographs. I don't know if that's okay, but we could just work with the drawing.
That wasn't part of the package. Is that part of the record, Rich?
I don't remember photographs.
I don't remember anyway.
No.
Jeremy, can you look it up and see if the photographs are part of the public documents?
Sure. 90 Inwood. Let's see what we got.
I don't believe the photographs are part of the record.
No, I do not see any photographs here. So maybe we'll, do you want to, oh, no, I have a plan, but I don't see any photographs.
We could proceed with the plan.
Okay, the plan. Let's see if I can pull this up on the screen. Hold on. Give me a second here. Let's see if I can make myself a presenter and then we can work off the plan.
Thank you for that.
Let's see if I can do it though.
So just a little background while Jeremy's doing that. I'm Bill Kenny. I'm a professional wetland scientist and soil scientist and landscape architect. And our firm, we're in Fairfield, and we were retained by the property owner to help them with this project. It's a very interesting project. They have a small man-made pond on their property, and they also have immediately adjacent to the pond is an interesting concrete pool that is many decades old, and it is a stream-fed pool. So it was constructed many decades ago, actually in the wetland, labeled on the survey as a pond, but it's so this drawing is the existing condition survey, and on the left you can see the pond, and immediately to the right is this concrete pool that has a small stream that runs into it, and there's a second stream that runs into the pond. But the owner proposes to remove the concrete pond and just reestablish a watercourse through that area and reestablish a wetland through that area. In addition to removing the pond, there's a small stone patio with just off to this bottom right-hand corner of that pool area. There's a small patio area with a stone fire pit and some stone walls that border that patio. So they would remove the patio, the stone walls, the fire pit, remove the concrete pond, the stream-fed pond, and just naturalize a wetland and watercourse area in the area of that pool. And then at the same time, do some enhancements to the pond that's to the left that has become sediment filled and is very unhealthy now. So they would take that pond that is only a couple of feet deep in most areas and remove all that accumulated sediment and deepen the pond to at least about 6 feet at its deepest point to help diversify the habitat and improve the habitat for finfish so that we can get a deeper portion of the pond, a refuge area during hot summer days and during cold winter. If there's a deep freeze, that deep area of the pond would be helpful for finfish that would be present there. And we're proposing some other features to help with the pond, such as at the inlet to the pond, we're proposing a sediment sump and that is at the southeast corner of the pond. And that would be used to trap sediment that's coming into the pond right at that location so that it's easier to remove it from that small area rather than to allow it to fill the entire pond. So in the future, it would diminish the amount of disturbance to the pond ecosystem and help just concentrate the sediment in one area so you're only disturbing a smaller area when it's needed to remove sediment. Another feature that we're proposing, a minor feature, is for the finfish is to have a pile of boulders at the deepest part of the pond, at the bottom of the pond, that provides an area for fish, a refuge area, cover area for fish to go to. The proposal is for the pond to be dewatered and excavated with an excavator. The property owner has been in touch with a very experienced pond dredger that they're looking to work with to do the work. We've provided on the drawings, there's 2 drawings. There's a drawing that you're looking at with the plan view and a detailed plant list of the variety of plants that are being proposed to be installed, and then a second sheet where we have 2 sections, or 1 section through the pond. The section that's shown at the top of the drawing is the existing condition. You can see the pond on the left and the swimming pool on the right. So we would, the section drawing below is the proposed condition, where we would deepen the pond and eliminate the swimming pool and just create a wetland habitat where that swimming pool is. So it's a bit unusual. Yeah, usually we're here to ask for permission to build a pool, and here we're asking for permission to remove a pool. So please answer the question you might have.
Pretty ironic, right? Yeah, absolutely, pretty interesting. Have the commissioners, Bill Wright, why don't you start?
Okay, yeah, I think it is an interesting project, and I commend that we're going in that direction on this one. That's nice. A couple questions, though. It's more of an engineering. How do you stabilize the new dredge material you're putting on the peripheral of the pond so that it doesn't just slump back down into your? Are you putting up some kind of riprap, or how do you make sure that doesn't just ooze back down into your deeper hole?
Sure. So we've used both stone and coir logs in the past to help achieve that. So we would look to do that and create a berm to hold back that material.
So the green area separating from the blue area, you would put a a log lineup or some sort across that, or is that what that is? I'm not familiar with what the
Yeah,
procedure.
that material, so the coir log is a material made from the husk of a coconut, and they make these in everything from like about a 6-inch diameter up to 18 inches or so in diameter. And you can, they're very flexible. They come in lengths of about 10 feet in length. They're very durable, and they persist in the environment. They're biodegradable, but they'll persist for in a saturated condition like this for 3 to 5 years. So allow for the time for that material to settle and for plant life to become established.
So the material, because you're digging pretty deep, you won't be using all that material on site. Some of it will have to be trucked off.
Correct, and some of it will be used to backfill the pool area.
Right. Okay. Protection wise, that one beautiful 30-inch beach is pretty phenomenal. I assume that you're going to keep any of the heavy equipment away from the roots on that one.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
And that you're referring to the beach, I think it's northeast.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll just have access primarily from the southern portion, and maybe minimal from the northwest there. Excuse me.
So in the future, when you do dredging or maintenance dredging on that sump, you would have to come from the other angle down through the lawn, I guess. Is that what the plan is?
Yes.
Okay. The other item I had is on the outflow, which is in that drainage right next to the road, catch basin. Are you going to put some kind of filter on that? Because when this work gets going, or when you first flood it after all that, you're probably going to get silt. You're going to have some kind of mechanism to prevent silt from going down?
Sure, that's a good idea. We could add a silt sack sediment trap to that inlet. During construction, the pond itself becomes a sediment trap because we'll dewater it, so there'll be a lot of stored volume there. But like you said, shortly after construction, when the pond fills back up with water.
Yeah, I mean, if you have full of water and you got right after you've done this and you got a big rain, a monster rain, you might get some of that sediment roil and it'll up down in there, and you don't want, because that goes onto the neighbor's property on the other side of the road, I noticed. So
yes,
you don't want that. Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Bill. Michael Urban?
Bill, who's the pond dredger?
the pond dredger. I knew someone was going to ask that, and his name has slipped my. I'm going to look it up. I'll have it for you in a minute.
While you're looking up that, so boulders along pond banks are, to my understanding, a good measure to prevent erosion into the pond. Is that why you have proposed the boulders?
Just in that, yes, they're certainly very helpful for preventing erosion and holding the bank up. Yes.
But that doesn't sound like that's the reason why you put them there.
No, actually, it is. That would be. It helps. I find to have a nice, clean vertical edge. The stone helps you get that vertical edge to the bank. If you don't have that, it tends to be a zone where there's more difficulty with some invasive species such as Phragmites, common reedgrass. So helpful right on that edge to have that, something like that.
And in the, let's just say in the bend portion of the pond, the brook or the stream, as you may call it, does having the stone along the bank increase the velocity of the water?
It's a very it can in certain situations, but the flow here is very minimal. It's very low flow through this area, or it's not a large river. By any means, yes.
Okay, very good. And last question is, how do the mechanics of the pond operate? Not the pond, the pool. How do you prevent the pool from becoming a a stagnant algae vessel. Is that chlorinated? How does that work?
That's been the challenge. They have not operated it in that way recently, so it is full of algae and hasn't been. I'm not sure when the last time it was used regularly as a pool, but for years it was just stormwater flowing through it, and maybe over time with development in the watershed, there's just been a greater nutrient load, and I think perhaps in the past nutrients weren't as much of an issue and didn't cause as much algal growth in the pond. It's become a more difficult feature to maintain in a quote natural state.
So will this pond be will this pool be chlorinated?
Oh no, the pool's being completely eliminated.
Right, that's, okay, I wanted to clarify that, okay. I'm curious to know who the pool dredger is and no further questions.
Okay.
Jim Millard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I applaud the applicant and the applicant's experts that are helping to, what to me is to refresh a natural condition that I can only see good coming from this entire project. I'm very much in favor of what's being presented.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. My comments are similar to Jim's. I think it's incredibly interesting. This is probably one of the more interesting ones that I've come across, and I've been around a while here. Bill, you seem to get some interesting ones.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm pretty good with this. You know, I do worry about equipment coming in and out, and but I'm, you know, I think that you cover that with Bill Wright's questions, or answers to Bill Wright's questions. So I'm good. Any other commissioner want to add something before we, Rich, if you wouldn't mind drafting something up for this? And Bill, you owe, get back to Rich with the name of the dredger.
Oh,
Okay, so Michael's curiosity can be satisfied? Okay.
Yes, it hasn't been finalized yet, but we're been discussing with Mazzaro Construction, and we just had great success with them. They've done many ponds in the area, and we most recently just worked with them on the pond at Waveney Park with the restoration of that pond.
Oh, good. Anyway, Bill, thank you very much. We're going to be moving on to public hearing now.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Rich, you got what you need to,
Yeah.
Okay.
But it will excuse me if I might, so what's the process moving forward? Is this something then that perhaps a resolution prepared for the next meeting?
yes. Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
a draft to be voted on for the next August 4th meeting. So,
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Bill, that said, I think you've heard very positive comments from the commission on this too.
Great.
So I wouldn't lose any sleep.
Okay, thanks very much. Have a nice night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Moving on to the public hearing, EPC 25-2021, Brandon and Megan Cobalt, 54 Gardner Street, proposing a replacement house and related construction in an upland review area. The site is shown on assessor's map number 45 and lot number 124. Doug, I believe you're representing the.
Yes, I am. Jeremy, can I have the presenter, please?
There you go, Doug.
Thank you.
Doug, you got it?
Not yet.
Should I give it to the other Doug?
You might have, yeah.
Let me try the other Doug.
That's it.
Okay, now we're trying.
There we go. Got it. Yep.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Okay. Over there. Okay, good evening. Doug DeVesta, professional engineer representing the applicant. What's on the screen right now is the aerial photograph of the area of the property. It's highlighted here in blue. It's located on the north and east corner of Gardner, which runs north and south, and Coach Lamp Road that runs east and west in the intersection of Coach Lamp and Gardner is right here. There's an existing house. This property is approximately 0.67 acres or 29,525 square feet. There is an existing house on the lot that was constructed in 1922 according to the assessor's card. The property was flagged for wetlands, which was found along the, let's see, get this blown up a little bit so you can see it a little better. Wetlands are found right where my cursor is, coming down and across. So the lighter green area is the wetlands. Jim McManus, the soil scientist, is also on this call, and he'll be able to describe the wetlands in more details and talk a little more about the plantings we've got proposed here. Current access to the property is through a driveway that's right at the intersection of Gardner and Coach Lamp, which is kind of an awkward situation to a gravel driveway servicing the house. There is a drainage ditch that runs north and south to a pipe that goes, it's an 18-inch RCP or reinforced concrete pipe to a catch basin on Coach Lamp Lane. And at the last meeting, we presented this as just a overview of it. The commission had asked us to provide a sump area and clean out the entrance to the pipe to allow the water to flow more freely through the culvert out to this town drainage system. And we provided a detail. We provided a detail of that sump area. So the flow is coming in from the north into a sump area that's approximately 2 feet deep with some flat field stone in there and about 5 to 8 feet long. And we'll provide a trash rack on the inlet end and on the sides to prevent any more debris from building up and causing any kind of potential problems or flooding in the area. So I think we've addressed that comment from the commission from last time. The proposal is to raise the existing residence and construct a new residence behind the building setback. The current house is not compliant with the zoning regulations. The new house will be compliant with the zoning regulations placed behind the front yard setbacks on Gardner and on Coach Lamp. The house was shifted to the farthest point south to provide additional buffering between the house to the north and the proposed house. The property slopes from west, which is on the Gardner side, to an easterly direction towards the ditch on the property. It is proposed to install a detention system partly under the driveway and partly off the driveway to handle the runoff from the roof area, the driveway, which is a trench drain at the property line, and any drainage that flows from the front of the house into the driveway and into the trench drain will go into our detention system. We also looked at the water quality volume. The water quality volume is the first inch of runoff from the impervious surfaces from the roof and the driveway and a portion of the walk area and the lawn area. That volume is the volume in their detention system that's below the control outlet of the detention system. The detention system was designed to handle the 2, 10, 25, and 50-year design storm as required by the zoning regulations. The existing house is connected to the sanitary sewer. There's an existing sanitary sewer manhole on our property here, and the pipe goes across the property to the existing house. We're just going to disconnect that and then reconnect the same pipe and not disturb the existing line at all. Just going to tie back into the existing line that's out there. The existing house is connected to the water system, the municipal water system that's in Gardner, and that will also be tied into back into the house itself. In terms of soil and erosion control, we're providing a silk fence along the north side and along the edge of the wetlands to encompass the area. The area from the north property line to the southern property line along the wetlands area will be called what we're going to call super silk fence. Super silk fence would be a silk fence backed with a wooden slat snow fence. So again, this is something that we provided. Also, you saw this on a project that we did over on Valley Forge Road. So that will delineate the wetlands line and keep any kind of construction from going into the wetlands area during construction. Anti-tracking pad will be installed at the intersection of the new driveway that's being installed on Coach Lamp. Once it's installed, we are providing, and Jim will go a little more detail with this, but we're providing a 3-foot buffer on each side of the the drainage ditch that will be planted up to provide a buffer area for any runoff that's coming off our property, to provide some infiltration or some buffering and some cleaning up of the surface waters going towards that drainage ditch. And then there was a question last week about a sump pump. There will be a sump pump in the house, in the basement, that will discharge into our a junction box, into a detention system. Based on test hole number 2, the actual groundwater was encountered at 44 inches. That was when we did our soil testing in March, which is really considered the high groundwater time of the year. And also test hole number 3, we had get no groundwater. We were down into some sand and gravel in that area. So with the actual groundwater elevation that based on the 44 inches at 47.4 inches, the basement elevation is at 49. So you can see we're well above the actual groundwater elevation. So in our opinion, the footing drains and the sump pump in the basement is there just in the event that it does rise up higher than what we anticipated the groundwater to be, and that will drain off into our detention system. In terms of options, we looked at taking the house and rotating it so the front of the house would be facing Coach Lamp, using the same footprint of the house. And you can see this is the wetlands area here. By doing that, this portion of the house would be into the wetlands and filling the wetlands area. Would provide a backyard area, but again, we're filling the wetlands. So this was a feasible option that we thought of. But again, the amount of disturbance going into the wetlands, we didn't think that was a very feasible and prudent alternative. So therefore, we went with the alternative of providing the house still facing Gardner, parallel to Gardner, the narrow portion of the house, and then just providing grading off a patio towards the wetlands area, and then the maintained lawn area that is currently right now can be used as the backyard for our client. We did get a couple of comments, letters from the neighbors. One is number 71, Coach Lamp, and the other one was number 73. 71 is the house directly east of ours, and then 73 is the house, one house over from 71. I'll just go through those comments and answer those comments at this point. There was some question discussed, and there was one comment about flooding issues in the drainage ditch. We were aware of this. My client did talk to the neighbor prior to during when they've been out there many times. This area does flood, but providing opening up the outlet of the 18-inch RCP pipe will provide an area of water to continue to flow through. A trash wrap on there being on an angle like we're proposing, like this. So when water does fill up and there's any kind of debris here, it will push it up the incline of the trash rack and allow the water to continue to flow through. So by providing the trash rack, the sump area to collect any debris, we feel that that's going to greatly relieve any kind of flooding that may have occurred in that area. The detention system, the question was about the design of the detention system. That was designed based on the zoning, planning and zoning regulations for the 2, 10, 25, and 50-year design storms. So we are showing a decrease in runoff. So there's no increase in runoff. We also used the fresh metal mix method of calculating. So we got no credit for the existing dwelling. So we looked at this as a vacant lot and then designed it, which is a conservative way of doing it. The junction box that's located on the inlet side of the detention system will have a 2-foot sump in it, an open bottom. So a 2-foot sump will allow any debris that may have fallen on the roof, get through the drainage system, through the gutters into the system. Any sediment that may have fallen through the trench drain, get in here, will be collected into the sump of the junction box before it goes out into the detention system. The junction box will have to be, inspected annually, and any debris shall be removed. It can be done with a postal digger or a small shovel. It is 2 foot in diameter, so that access should be fairly easy to get into it. And as we talked earlier, that the house itself is being above the groundwater table, so we don't see any impact to the groundwater table from our proposed dwelling. Number 77, Coach Lamp also provided some comments. The flow pattern for the site itself is from as we talked about, from the west, which is Gardner, going in an easterly direction towards the ditch on the east side of the property. Again, they had also a similar question regarding how will this construction affect the water table, and it's our opinion that this will not affect the water table during the construction or even after the construction is completed. The detention system, again, was designed to handle the 2 through 50 design storm as per the zoning regulations. And as we just talked about, the junction box having the 2-foot sump in there. So we feel that our design for the overall drainage is sufficient to handle the runoff and to control it and not have any adverse impacts to the adjoining properties. There was questions raised by Darren dated June 15th, 21. He had a number, I think 12 comments. The first 5 were basically an accurate description of the project. Number 5 talked about permits required for connecting and disconnecting it. We have a note on our plan. Number 5 about the connection and disconnecting of the sanitary sewer. And there's also a question number 7 regarding the need for permit for the driveway opening permit. And we also have that. We also noted that on our plan as well. And then the other questions were basically just noted questions, and then reduction in peak flow. And then we have also provided the connection and disconnected form that's required by DEP that the Department of Public Works is asking us to do now. And also and then the last question was regarding an as-built of any subsurface drainage. Again, the piping, the detention system will be shown on a final as-built by the surveyor. At this point, I'd like to ask Jim Manis to discuss the wetlands, the plantings that he's proposed over here, and the function of the wetlands itself. Jim, you want to take over now?
Sure.
I'm in the middle of a meeting.
But
come and give me a kiss.
Okay.
I'm going to be finished in a little bit, and I'm going to go down there.
Okay, good evening, Jim McManus, Certified Professional Soil Scientist, JMN Wetland Consulting Services, offices in Newtown. Back in March 24th of this year, I visited the site to just review, might get a sense of what it is and gather information for the report I hope you all have in front of you. As Doug mentioned, there is one wetland area, which is a disturbed wet maintained lawn located along the eastern portion of the site with a very narrow ditch associated with it that carries flow from a PVC pipe at the northern part, and it heads in a southerly direction, to Doug said, to a pipe which heads into the coach lamp drainage system. If you quickly look at, hopefully you have a colored picture. If you go to photos 3 and 4, you can see in the color pictures, you can see where the ditch is. It's the greener grass. That's and you can see how narrow it is, and it's just sort of just a very narrow swale almost that flows through the backyard. We went through a functionality assessment. There are no principal functions associated with the wet lawn. There are some present, but they are conferred at a low to very low level. You got those pictures, Doug?
No, I don't.
Okay, no worries. No big deal. It's just it was just a good example of what this actual swale looks like. We are, as Doug said, we have no proposed direct impacts, and we don't propose or anticipate any indirect impacts, which is used for, which essentially looks at water quality and habitat value. Doug's stormwater management, and then our little planting plan I'm going to go through in a minute will certainly deal with any potential indirect impacts that we have. We have a nice up-to-date soil and erosion control plan that protecting the resources during construction, which is always a concern, but that would be monitored and maintained throughout. We did have a little wetland enhancement planting plan along the ditch on about 3 feet between the ditch between the bank of the ditch and about 3 feet out. We're going to put up about 68 shrubs on both the west side and the east side, and I picked 3 species: silky dogwood, sweet pepper bush, and a rhododendron or an azalea, which would be planted along that area, and they're all wildlife enhancement shrubs. And after they get up and growing, they thicken out, so it'll be a good barrier, indicating to kind of stay out of that flow of water for both the neighbor to the west and also obviously, I'm sorry, the neighbor to the east and also our site here. That's about it. I mean, a lot here. It's a maintained lawn, has been for decades, and it does meet the definition of a Connecticut wetland, but other than that, it's really not doing much. And the ditch is essentially a conveyance of seasonal waters, either groundwater or a seasonal flow.
Well, I think that's all we have. We'll be glad to entertain any questions that the commissioners may have at this time.
Okay. Bill Wright, you want to start us off?
Yeah, you're talking about 3 feet on each side of the stream of will you be planting?
Yes.
Okay, 3 feet on each side. Okay. Is there any flow coming from the neighbors on the east side of their drainage going down to that ditch?
I didn't see any, but Doug, I don't know the answer to that.
Well,
I didn't see any details out there.
The reason I'm bringing it up is if there isn't, did you think about putting a low berm along that property line to take care of their neighbors' concerns, so that they never would get it flowing into their property?
Well, I think this, Bill, this is the town topo.
Yep.
This will probably give you an indication of what's going on out there. This is our site here. This is the neighbor's house, the 71 coach lamp. And you can see this is a swale going in through here. So if we were to burn this up, I think we would stop any water that was flowing in this direction and leave it on their property. By keeping it as a lawn area as it currently does, it'll continue that flow into that ditch and then down into the drainage system into Coach Lamp Road.
So what you're saying is that ditch is also helping the neighbors as well?
Correct. I think the flooding again, if you were out there, you'll see that the pipe, there's a lot of forsythia bushes around here, and you really can't even see the pipe that's there. Once that gets cleared out, I believe, it's our opinion that this will alleviate any kind of flooding that may have occurred in this area.
Okay. The other item, do you have any idea what shape that sewer line is in? Because obviously if there's a break, it's going downhill, going into that, and it's going to right out in Holly Pond. So I'm kind of concerned about what shape that line is.
We don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. We know it was working. We found out we put water or dye into the system in the existing house, and it came through to the manhole that's on this property, right where my cursor is right now. I don't know.
Do you ever do a quick scope, just in a situation where it's a little concerning what would happen if it did break? Or is that something?
I don't remember if it's PVC pipe or if it's a tile pipe. If it's a PVC pipe, I would suspect that it would be in good condition. Mark, you remember what this was?
Yeah, we did the disconnection from the existing house for the demolition permit. It's a metal pipe. It's in great shape. We tested it several times when it was connected to the house. It's in very good shape.
Metal pipe. So what year would that have been, do you think?
I think this was done in the 70s, possibly. The sewer lines in this area.
I don't know if a developer is in charge of worrying about a sewer line, but somebody ought to be, just in case, when you're going into it.
The developer is responsible for it for at least the first year. So we are concerned about it. And it's a cast iron pipe. It wasn't included. It was in good shape. Okay,
but cast iron does rot out, it's just depending. At your end, it looked good, but I'm wondering where it was down in the wetlands area, what it looks like, and also what depth is it underneath that swale? I'm just throwing that out because those are concerns that everybody should have. That's all I have.
We did open the manhole. It was about 6 feet deep, and everything looked in very good shape. We tested the flow from the house, and it was in good shape.
Okay. All right. Thanks. That's all I've got.
Okay, Michael?
I have no questions.
Okay, Jim? Jim Millard?
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, hey, Doug, I know you got I have 2 letters here from adjacent properties.
Correct.
And if you wouldn't mind, what I'd like to do is I'll read the question and you can give me a quick answer here. So that for the record, say, will this affect the water?
I did go through them already, Eric, but we shouldn't go through them again.
Okay, no, well, there's one that you didn't, which is who will be inspecting to make sure that the maintenance has been done and the system continues to function properly.
Okay, well, the system, this is that you're talking about the question came from number 71, right, Coach Lamp?
Yeah, I have it almost to the end. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end.
Okay. Yeah.
And no, obviously the system is not there to support a 100-year storm because of the state, the local regs are 50-year storm.
Correct.
Okay.
And again, we're doing a very conservative approach here. Again, we're looking at as a fresh meadow calculation, so we're not taking any credit for any of the existing conditions. So that's a very conservative way of doing it. The building up, question number 3, that could build up the sediment cause the system to fail. Well, that's why I put in a junction box in front of it. The junction box will collect any of the sediment there with a 2-foot sump, and also has an open bottom, so there's no really standing water in the system during rain events. After rain events, the water will seep out, and this area is where you can do your maintenance and your cleaning out of any sediment that will be collected in that area. And who will inspect and ensure the maintenance of the system has been done and the system continues to function properly? Well, that's going to be up to the homeowner. Again, if as I mentioned earlier, these systems should be inspected annually for any accumulation of silts and sediments that may get into the system, and it can be cleaned out because the manhole will be the finished grade, so they can open it up, very easy to be done, clean out. This can be done by the homeowner or by the maintenance people, the lawn people, who take care of the property for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
Question?
The other letter is from 73 Coach Lamp, and I guess we are concerned that the lack of maintenance, for example, what happens with runoff and the impact to his property? Well, the homeowner is responsible, and you can walk over and talk to the homeowner. Okay, to clear out that. We hope that nothing will be done unfavorable to the water that will affect the water table, right? And which subsequently will affect the wetlands. All right. What I'd like to do now is to open up to the public. If there is a member of the public that would like to speak, please unmute yourself and speak up, and please give your name and address and to be recognized.
I am Jim Gleason. I'm on the property to the north, immediately to the north of this property. And I first want to thank the presenters for helping clarify questions that we did come up with. I appreciate what they did. I am primarily concerned with drainage on the property. It was very adversely affected several years ago when a huge wall was built north, up from my property. But that's not what we're concerned about. I think all the advice I'm getting tells me that this is actually certainly not going to adversely impact and may positively impact drainage in the backside of my lot. I've got 2 questions. Oh no, 3. Actually, the third one came up during the presentation. The regrading towards the north, towards this property, does appear at around the 52-foot contour, appears to get a little bit close to my property line. Can you tell me how, what's the shortest distance from my property where regrading will occur?
Do you want me to answer them now, Jim, or you want me to wait?
That would be fine. Let's answer that.
Sure. I say Eric. I'm sorry, Eric. You want to ask all your questions, Jim, first, and then we'll answer them all at one time?
Why don't we go question, answer, question, answer.
Okay. Okay. No problem. Okay, you're talking about, this is the 52 contour right in here. This is a 25-foot setback right in here. So you're probably talking 20 feet from your property line to the edge of the grading right here.
Okay.
That's the closest.
And the soil scientist I conveyed said 20 feet is the closest. If there's no regrading within 20 feet, there'll be no impact. So I feel good with that answer. Thank you. You noted that you're going to put a silt fence up all the way along that property line. That silt fence. There's bushes. There's a cork bush, forsythia. What's going to happen to all the plantings? How are you going to get that fence in there?
Well, we're showing a silt fence here, but we'll have to field adjust it to go around those plants in there. The contractor did advise me of that. So what will probably end up happening is that the silt fence here now will probably run in along and around those plants there, because we want to keep that area as a buffer between this house and your house too. So that'll be a field adjusted.
I understand. It might be difficult because some of the regrading is going to actually go into those plants. So those plants are in jeopardy anyway, I think. I guess my last question is, there's quite a number of trees and plants between this house and, my property and this house. In particular, there's a huge oak tree in the northwest corner, and it's huge. Pat, who lived in the house prior, said her dad planted it. It's over 100 years old. Do you know yet what the status of that tree will be in the long run?
Are you talking in this corner up here?
Yes. I know there's a small hickory tree that's gone. I'm sure it'll be gone. I'm sure the pines and rhododendrons that are near the existing house, they have to go because they're in the footprint of your existing house. But that oak tree is pretty close. I think it's only about 10 feet from the proposed, 10 to 15 feet from the corner of the house. And I'm wondering if you're going to be able to save it or not.
James,
Yes.
that oak tree is staying. All we're going to do is trim it up a bit. And those bushes, that bush buffer between your house and this house, all that's staying.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
you're able to do that. Good. I hope the oak and its root system are able to prevail or continue. Well, yeah. Anyway, thank you.
The root system actually is not going to be affected by the excavation. So we're going to protect that tree, and it's a beautiful oak. So
yes, yeah.
We always do that.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Eric, I think you're muted.
Is there any further member of the public that would like to speak? No? Okay, is there a commission member that would like to have a final question or comment? No? Okay. Jim, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move to close the public hearing of tonight's meeting for the Gardner Street Coach Lamp Lane project.
Good. Michael Urban, may I have a second?
Second.
Second, then without objections, so moved. So the public hearing is closed. We'll move on now to the amendment of regulated wetlands and watercourses map.
Thank you very much, Eric. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Doug, for a great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Okay. Rich, I didn't get that. Did I get that map?
I didn't either.
I sent out draft.
Okay.
They're fairly large, but I can send out the list of properties, but we accumulate over, in this case, 2 years.
Excuse me, why don't you go for, I don't know if Michael's been through this process or Bill. Go through why we have to, how this comes about and why we have to approve it, et cetera.
Right. So over the course of 18 months, in this case, 2 years, we periodically take all of the surveys we get, which are site specific to all the applications we reviewed, and we update the town map. I mean, you've seen the town map where there are cases where, an entire property is wetland, and there's a house on it. So there are a number of those. But in any event, every time we get a survey, we just keep track of them. We have a a GIS consultant, and she will, at the, in this case, I think there were about 35. So they're always in the neighborhood of 35, 40. And we just update the town map, and we'll pick an effective date, and we'll publish, file with the town clerk, send it to DEP, and it'll become the new effective town map. And that's pretty much it. We typically don't get public comment because all these are from people who've actually submitted their surveys. Usually, there's no objection involved. So, unless there's public comment, you are required to have a public hearing. So it's been noticed, filed with the town clerk, and assuming you close the public hearing, I can pick an effective date.
Do I need to call a public hearing, open it and close it, or no?
I think it did.
Not on this one.
Oh, I apologize.
Well, no, okay, I can say, no, this is a public hearing. Okay. The commissioners have any questions?
So are some of these are written in by individuals that said, I need to change this, it's not right, or are these just ones that we've picked up over the number of years?
Over the course of 2 years, these are all have been submitted in association with projects.
Okay, because
if an individual wants to change the map, there's a process for that. They can make an application. We have done that on a couple of occasions for one property, if they want to change the map for some reason, and it's happened. But usually, the people who are submitting and once they get their permit, they're fine. I mean, they're not going to object to us changing the map.
Well, typically when a project comes in, they have to have a landscape engineer or wetland soil scientist that comes in and goes, this wetlands, et cetera. So that's a professional determination at that point, and then we see it.
It's basically not economical to change the map every time you look at a project. So this way, if somebody does want that, again, there's a way to do it. They can do it on individual.
Does it ever go the other way? Does it ever go the other way where we notice something that certainly wasn't even mapped out by a soil scientist, yet on the property it's definitely wetlands? We change it the other way.
Tonight's hearing 54 Gardner. There are no wetlands shown on the town map. So there will be.
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, 54 Gardner, the application you heard tonight.
Yes.
There are no wetlands on the town map.
I see. So gotcha.
This property was on the market. I knew there was a stream there. So I suspected it would be wetland, but until the soil scientist went out, actually flagged it and surveyed it. So now that property would be on the
good. Okay, that's good. Thanks. Appreciate it.
That's a classic example.
Okay.
So now that they know that, so okay. And we know it, and we've reviewed it. So, and we've talked to the soil scientists about this. So, okay. Do you have any other questions, Bill? Michael? Jim, I think you've been through this before.
I have. I just, I think it's an exemplary behavior by the town that the various applications over 18 months, be it 2 years in this case, Rich, as you point out, the information is gathered, stored, and updated. And I just, I'm proud to be part of this commission and the thoroughness with which the town is documenting updates and changes.
Yeah, there are towns I know that really don't bother to update their map. Darien is fortunate. And again, we have a very good GIS consultant, and we have the budget. So yes.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now
just need to close the hearing.
Okay, Jim, I need a motion to close the hearing on the amendment of regulated wetlands and watercourses.
Yes, sir. I'm pleased to make that motion, Mr. Chairman, to close the public hearing that we've just been discussing on inland wetlands and water courses.
Okay, Michael, a second?
Second.
Okay, without objection, so moved. Moving on to other business minutes of June 2nd, 2021. Everybody got these. Obviously, this does not have the Jim Millard edits.
I'll wait for those.
Oh, you just want to approve it next month?
Either that or you can,
Let's approve it subject to
okay.
the minor, edits that are going to come. So
I should just, so that you all know, we're traveling back east from out here in the beautiful West this Friday. And I will make it my business, Eric, and Rich, everybody, to look those over during the course of this coming weekend, not later than this Monday, and get any edits or comments back to Rich.
That's plenty of time.
there's no necessary to put a self-imposed deadline there. So we have much appreciated, Jim, but, not necessary to have a self-imposed deadline unless you're that bored on the airplane back.
This is right.
So,
Sorry to interrupt.
anyway, okay, so
Eric, I think Jeremy has some input.
Thank you. Rich, I wasn't sure if you wanted a vote on the new wetlands map with an effective date tonight, or you're going to put that on for next month's agenda?
Well, I guess, do we normally do that? That's a good question. Yes, I think we maybe have a vote to approve the
wetlands map?
The wetland map. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to accept the vote.
All right, so we're going back to the amendment of regulated wetlands and watercourses map. Jim, I need a motion to approve the amendments as recommended by Rich.
Jeremy, thank you for picking up on that, and I'm pleased to make that motion to approve those amendments.
Great, Michael, a second?
I'm pleased to second that motion.
Okay, without objection, so moved. Okay, going back to the minutes. Okay, I'd like to approve the minutes just to get them in. So, Jim, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of June 2, 2021?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I know there may be some input from other members, including myself, in the next couple of days, but I'm pleased to make a motion to approve those minutes of the June 2nd, 2021 EPC regularly scheduled meeting.
Great. Michael, a second?
Second.
Okay.
Do you want to spend a couple of minutes on 54 Gardner? Is there anything?
Oh, yeah. We'll get to, okay, the minutes are approved. Without objection, the minutes are approved. 54 Gardner Street. What does everybody feel? What's the?
If you want me to kick it off, Mr. Chairman, I will. I know exactly where this location is. I frankly take comfort in the fact that a older home, maybe outside of complying with today's setbacks and code requirements, is being revised to now sit within those designated boundaries with a sensitivity to all the roof drainage and everything that was pointed out by the professionals representing the applicant. So I have no large concerns to raise from my end.
Michael?
Is it too late to have a peer review on this application?
Yes.
No further questions.
Yeah. It was reviewed by Derek, and it was a straightforward review.
I love this outfit.
Right. Thank you, Jim. I didn't know you cared. Anyway, Bill, do you have any questions or comments on 54 Gardner?
No, I'm all right.
Okay. So
Write it up.
you're right. Why don't you write it up for review? So, hey, Michael, if you have any, if you would like to bring in a separate person to review it, I guess the time to bring it up would be last month's meeting when we have everybody together for this one. So we have Doug and we have the peer review together at the same time.
We typically don't do it unless there's something, a lot of it.
Yeah.
a lot of something complicated.
Yeah.
This was pretty straightforward, so
Yeah.
Darren is nice enough to review. The other thing is we usually bring in a peer review when I know it's going to be either an engineer hired by neighbors. So, somebody like Joe Canis would come to these meetings and spend a lot more time than I can burden Darren with.
Now, just out of curiosity, we know there were not wetlands at 54 Gardner, and now we know that there are. What about going up to 56? 56 Okay, because they're an adjoining property, Gleason's property to the north. Okay, because you're looking at the property,
Right.
Gardner
Well,
Street goes straight north.
We would
You have this piece of property with the wetlands and
We
the,
would do the same thing we did here.
okay.
They did a new survey and we had any identify the wetlands. And then
You did a great job peddling that boat today. You did such a great job.
Okay. Alrighty, just curious. All right, so, why don't you write it up? Anybody else have anything? So, okay, listen, I guess the next piece of business is to adjourn. Tim, you want to propose, we adjourn the meeting? Make a motion to adjourn.
I'm happy to make a motion as I just roll my camera down to my able assistant right there, just so you all see her. I'm happy to make a motion which she supports for adjourning tonight's EPC hearing from the west.
She's been testing your audio all night, I know.
That's right.
Okay, Michael, a second?
I second, as long as the Vice Chairman Millard provides copious amounts of ice cream to his grandchildren this evening.
You're in luck, Brady. You're in luck, Brady girl.
That's right, it's still early there. It's what, 2 hour difference?
Yes, it is 2 hours.
It's only 7 o'clock, so there's time for ice cream. There's always time. Anyway, without objection, so moved. The meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Mr.